Greetings, sentient beings. This broadcast is not intended for children. There may be strong language and adult themes.
Alright.
And today we have, of course, Mage with us. Actually, Mages tends to be doing more in my streams than I do.
You're with Mage.
Yep. And we have the Autistic Page and Beck.
Hello, everybody.
So today we are going to be talking about autistic stimming and meltdowns and freeze ups.
Maybe we should start with the meltdowns. What do you
Okay?
think? Who wants to? Anybody want to go first, or
Go ahead, Beck.
I
You
tell
got
you-
something?
Yeah, I figured out that's the problem I have when I'm at work. It's not that I'm really getting mad at people. It's because they're doing stuff that's against my OCD. And it's driving me crazy. And then I just explode because I can't handle it. I'm like, no, don't fuck that up. It was clean. And then it happens over and over and over again, and it builds up. And that's the part of I can't stand being around people thing. The problem I have. I really just can't stand stupid people. And everybody I know keeps saying, oh, you're really intelligent. And although I don't see it, I'm starting to believe them because stupid people drive me nuts.
Yep.
Being a late diagnosed autistic, what I found out is Beck threw his lawn trimmings over, kind of got in my yard a little bit. Not a big deal. So what? You get a handful and you put it. But what I didn't realize is my sensitivities, maybe because the lawnmowers are going and stuff like that, and maybe the sun's really bright, and so I'm getting ramped up. And then when I see that little stupid thing that I shouldn't
the
even
straw.
care about, and
Yeah.
it pops. And so what I've found is I've gotten older, or as I guess learning more about myself as an autistic is, what I have to, when I start getting ramped up, I have to stop and say, have I eaten? Have I pooed? Am I hungry? Or do I am I hot? Am I itchy? Is there too much sun? Is there too
Hold
much
on.
noise? And
Hold on. So I never thought about it. Because like when I'm at work and I have a job where it's kind of laborious, I just sweat all the time. And it irritates the hell out of me.
right.
Oh,
I hate having sweat all over me.
And oh yeah, and like that's why I would like go do the old headband thing, like in certain when I'm doing certain jobs, to keep.
I always
the,
wear
the,
a hat.
The
I
sweat,
have to, or it'll just drip in my eyes.
Oh,
and it's annoying.
and
Yeah.
you haven't been officially diagnosed as autistic, have you, Beck? But you do show a
No,
lot
and
of
actually, I
symptoms.
have good news, you guys.
Oh,
So two weeks ago, on a Saturday, the Social Security Administration called me, and I was like, no, it's like maybe 3 weeks ago now. And I was like, who's calling me from California? You didn't answer it, saw the voicemail, called her back. And I was like, oh God, I lost my chance, right? She answered, and she goes, hi, I'm working on Saturdays, and I'm trying to clean up the cases that haven't been touched in a while, and they haven't been moved. And your case has been sitting for 9 months. And I said, yes, ma'am, it has. And so we had a nice conversation. I told her what was going on with me. I told her I don't have official diagnoses for things, and I really need it. I said, but the problem I have is, I don't have a job, and then I get a job, and I'm like, okay, so I set up an appointment 3 months out, so I'll have insurance, and I get to that 3 months, and I lost my job, and I got fired because I popped off, and then I go, and then I have to cancel that appointment, and then I go get another job, and it's rinse and repeat, and this is my fucking life, and I swear it's all because of autism and OCD. I swear that's what it is.
That was
And
actually
it's bizarre. My house is a fucking wreck, but don't move my stuff. I know where everything is, and if you move something, I'll get pissed. That's why I can't live with people.
actually
People want to touch my shit. Don't touch my shit.
back that cycle with Social Security is what led up to me eventually getting qualified for disability. Was that it showed a track record that I was never able to keep a job for more than 3 months.
I said to the lady, I said, I'm not positive, so I'll say around 65. But as far as I can recall, I'm at job 71 right now. And I said, and I'm like, at this point, I'm just going to enter myself in the Guinness Book of World Records, just live off that or something. I don't know. I said, I can't do it anymore. I
Can
started
you get
crying. I was like,
Medicaid?
I can't. Well, hold on. Let me tell you everything that happened. I had Medicaid when I was out of work, actually.
Okay.
I was on a medication that literally made me suicidal every day.
Right.
It's Wellbutrin. It's not, they put it down as an allergy for me because I'm so bad with it. But anyway,
For me, it's great.
so before her and I get off the phone, after I explained to her how I go from trying to get a psychologist to don't have a job, don't have insurance, blah, blah, blah. And I said, I can never afford to pay it out of pocket because until I get the next job, I spend the savings I just made from the last job to live till I get the next job. And I said, so I'm just stuck. And she said, would you like to get evaluated through the state? And I said, absolutely. And she said, in person? Or no, she said, so are you okay with telehealth? And I said, no, I want to do it in person. I'm not doing it over the phone. Because you can't tell me there's a lot of things visibly that people see that help them diagnose. And no, you're not taking that away from me. So we're going to do it face to face. So I got a call yesterday and they set me up for the 11th, which is on a Saturday. So I won't miss work. Also, I just smoked my last cigarette this morning because my heart is getting mad at me. And I have to wear a heart monitor. They're going to mail it out on this Wednesday.
Oh.
So I have to wear one of those for like 5 days. But the good news is that, that they're going to die. And I don't have to pay a dime. I just have to go there.
Okay, great.
Right. Yeah.
All right,
And
well,
speak
going
to
back,
the
getting back on track here. Well, first of all, a meltdown is actually a nervous system overload, and it's actually physiological. Well, based on the neurobiological reaction. A lot of people will mistake it for a temper tantrum, usually like in kids and stuff. No, it's not a temper tantrum. It is actually a physical reaction to outward stimulus. So actually, I can even speak about this from a personal perspective. Just recently, my one thing that sets me off is the smoke detectors, especially when they like chirping they go off.
Yep.
Well, the smoke detector decided to start chirping, and I have these smoke detectors that are hardwired into each other, so they don't actually need batteries. But if you don't have a battery in them, they chirp. So the main one in the hallway, he starts chirping. So I have to check every single one of these. Of course, then my bird, since I go off because of the chirping, the bird goes off. So now I've got the sound of the bird screaming at the chirping, and I've got
then the dog starts barking.
So I've got both of these noises. Yeah. So I figure out, okay, which one has the dead battery? I find it. I'm trying to do this while I'm trying to keep myself, together. I'm basically I feel like I'm going into a rage.
Yeah.
So I find the dead battery. I go and try and get a replacement. I don't have any replacements. I have to run out to the store and pick up some batteries while I'm still.
And what sucks is when you're going into a rage over something that's kind of trivial, so to speak. You just have to go get batteries. But it is physiologically, your body is responding, and your body does not give a crap what reality is around you. Your body does not care. I put it this way. I say the autism does not care. It doesn't.
This goes into the...
That's what I was trying to tell myself. Like, oh, come on. This is just a chirping smoke detector. It's not a big deal.
Doesn't matter.
That's crazy, mate.
And that's why we're autistic. That's why we're autistic. If we didn't have those types of traits, then we wouldn't be autistic.
Yep.
Right. Exactly.
This goes into the thing about the spoon theory to the extreme. That it's like, okay, you might be able to take 4 little things or 5 little things, but when it gets up to the 6th little thing, you've got just nothing left to buffer that, and just everything explodes at once.
So, Mage, with what you were saying with temper tantrums and meltdowns, the difference is the best way to identify that is this behavior for a reason? Are they trying to get something? Is it manipulative? Or are they just like screaming or whatever?
Yeah.
If it's
a good idea.
If it's not directly a manipulative behavior to get something, And they might even think they want something or that they don't, I want this. Well, they may not want that. They just may feel the need that their body's getting, and they thought of that thing. And now they think that's why. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We will attribute it. So, and that could become a manipulative behavior to get said item because they're trying to self regulate and they think that's the issue. So, anyway, I'll stop.
Well, I just have to say real quick that this whole thing blows my mind, but because between the three of you, everything you said in the last like 10 minutes, I just realized I always get mad at myself because I pop off.
Yes.
And
Yes,
I
do
try
that.
so hard to control it, and I work so hard to control it.
Yeah.
And then I pop off, and then I'm mad at myself. I'm embarrassed. I'm, mostly just mad at myself. I'm still mad
Because
at the situation.
even while it's happening, you're questioning yourself about, this is piddly little shit. Why am I reacting like this?
Yes.
Sometimes that happens to me. Usually it's about 5 minutes later, and it's like my brain kicks back in, and I go, oh, fuck. What
That's
did I
exactly why I've given myself permission to be autistic. And what that means is
Okay.
I give myself permission to make those mistakes because they're going to happen. And I can't stop them. So it's okay for me to be autistic. So it's okay. I can screw up like that because if I didn't, I wouldn't be autistic. So it's not my fault. So I literally give myself to permission. That's more different from accepting that you're autistic. Just knowing that you're autistic and accepting it is completely different than
Well,
actually
I've accepted it.
giving
I've accepted it, and I got superpowers that most people don't have, so I don't care.
Right, but giving yourself
I can do
permission.
like easy math in my head like this, while somebody else is still trying to type it in the calculator. I'm done.
Oh yeah,
So,
I
yeah,
can do
I'm
the
not.
math
I got
in my head.
superpowers.
The problem
Uh-huh.
I have is trying to do it on paper. I can't get all the symbols in the right order.
That's because you're
I just
dyslexic,
Yeah, that's
though,
my
right?
dyslexia kicks in
Yeah.
there.
Yeah, but that's different. But with me, it's when I go to write it down, I'll forget. But if it's in my head, I'm good.
Yep.
For some things, for mathematical problems, yeah,
Although
it's better for me just to do it.
one of the things is virtually every time I do math for a project, it pisses me off that the U.S. hasn't gone metric because it would be so much easier if I could just move the decimal point rather than trying
There's-
to add 1/16 of an inch to quarters of an inch.
There's so much material in construction and stuff in the U.S. In case you guys don't know, that comes in metric. A lot of things come in metric. We get things everywhere. It's made in the U.S. It's still metric, but then you have to convert it
Yep.
because your measuring tape is not fucking metric or whatever.
My favorite measuring tape has
The
inches
adapter
along the
is
top
fucking
and has
standard.
metric along the bottom.
Purple,
Yeah.
does dyslexia affect you with numbers
Yes.
if you're doing calculations?
Well, like I say, doing pretty much anything I'm writing down on paper or trying to read, it's just a matter of getting the symbols, the letters and symbols and numbers in the right order.
Shit. I didn't know. You know what? I bet you my son was a savant.
I actually
No,
have
I'm not kidding. In numbers, because he would just do math problems in his head, but not know what he did. The answers were always right, but he could not tell you what he did. And I'm talking fairly complex, like geometric stuff or whatever.
Yeah.
But
Wow.
he didn't like math, and now I understand why, because he was so dyslexic that I bet you that just writing it down and having to do the formulas and stuff really messed with him, where he could just do it in his head and give you the answer.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
had that problem all through school that, I could do it in my head and get the right answers, but they always wanted you to show your work.
And then
You
they
know,
were
and-
they were after you for it, right?
Well, then when I'm trying to write it out, as 6 times 9 times 3, instead I'm getting it as x69 times 3.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm very autistic. Actually, I have the point where the letters and numbers and stuff actually can sometimes appear like they're moving on the page, and that's actually a lot of people think that's common in dyslexia, but that's actually fairly rare.
Oh, really?
I was gonna
Yeah,
say I
And,
think I've only heard of that one time ever.
That's
Yeah,
what my son used to say, is that they would move around.
Yeah, and there was one time I actually walked into a grocery store and they had this big sign in the back, in the very back, where big words. I actually sat there and looked at it, and it went from saying one thing to another thing right in front of me.
Oh, wow.
Okay,
Yes,
John
I
Hunter
want you
has
to
a good
highlight
question
this.
here. Yeah. Does anyone have a shutdown after popping off, like days of just not being able to interact with anyone?
No.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I have trouble just
Yep.
going to work every day. And
Yeah.
every night I hide in my house. Every weekend I hide in my house. I go to the store like twice a week, and that is it. I'm just working home, and I hide the rest of the time because I'm trying to fucking refuel.
Yeah.
No, actually,
from
I
being
found
like, hey, how are you? I'm asking all the fucking time.
yeah, I actually found this nice little thing on shutdowns, basically comparing shutdowns to a computer crash. So if
Yeah.
you think about if you have trouble, we'll start thinking you get that loading ring kind of thought process. As people kind of think of it that way. Well, think of of a shutdown sort of like the blue screen of death.
Yeah. I've often described it that way to people, that that like I had a hard drive crash and I've got to wait for it to reassemble it.
But
Yeah.
I would say it feels
Yeah.
like getting in a car accident or something like that, where there's a huge adrenaline rush, and then you bottom out afterwards, like you're
Dump.
good to
Yeah.
go,
Dumps,
and then
yeah.
you dump. But physically, that's what it feels like.
That's a good.
But mentally, it's what you guys were saying.
Well, and
Yeah,
I've
exactly.
always said that, some people are like the adrenaline junkies searching for the thrill, and it's like adrenaline is not my friend. Anytime I have an adrenaline surge, it's a bad sign that something horrible is about to happen.
I want to add on to that question another thing, and I know you guys have probably experienced this, and this can go worse with burnout, but it does not have to go with burnout. Say I have a very bad meltdown, like after my son died. Okay, now I'm going to be more likely to have more meltdowns sequentially after that, like a lot more of them, or more. And then maybe after a time, if things get better, I can still have meltdowns, but not the real severe ones where where I just keep having them.
Yeah, it's like
you
you
guys talk about
it's
that.
like you get a break in it. You get a break, and
Yeah.
then it starts like becoming more and more again. Yeah.
Well,
More
when
often
you
and more
have a
severe.
major event, when you have a major event like that, it doesn't immediately go back down to the 0 point. So,
Yeah.
you're already up to the
You're already up here.
Yeah. You're
the norm
already.
you've gotten used to is already the 3 or 4 things are already bad. So
Yeah,
it's only going to take 1 or 2 more to set you off again.
Yeah, you're
Mhm.
already wired, so it's gonna take just that little extra to put you over. So then you start dropping down. Maybe something else that happens a little bit that's not quite, and then push right back up.
And sometimes it can take a while to get out of that cycle to where you're not having meltdowns all the time for no reason.
I call it a funk, but
Yeah.
I get I'll stay in a funk. I've stayed in a funk before for months.
Yeah,
They call that's called what is it, autistic well, I'll remember it. Go ahead.
Well, yeah, after after that
Burnout.
after that whole the smoke detector thing, I just closed myself off in a room and just total silence for the rest of the day, basically.
Yeah.
That is
Yeah.
called autistic burnout, is what it's called.
Yeah.
One of
Burnout.
the things I have to do,
I should mention that.
one of the things I actually have to do, almost every week, is I have to take one day that I just acknowledge I'm not going to get anything done, and just stay in bed for 12 to 15 hours to recharge.
My wife does that. She's ADHD, but she's not autistic. But she does that too. I call it her dump. About every
well,
3
that's-
weeks.
I just text Sloth Girl that, this is a recharge day. I won't even be able to go up to see her.
That's
I think
why
that's
I
common
don't
with
do anything on the
neurodivergence.
weekends. Yeah.
I don't do that,
I
but
try to schedule it. I used to be doing it mostly on Saturday before I was doing these streams. So, I try to schedule it to be Saturday or Sunday
Yeah.
when I,
Yeah.
just can't get things like doctor's appointments and that done anyway.
Well, let's try and think of it like this. You have those. You ever seen those wartime movies where the person just snaps? They just can't take it anymore, or they have to just sideline them for a while. Well, and what
Yeah.
that sideline process is the kind of the burnout. You can think of it like
Yeah.
that.
Purple, do you realize what you just said? And all of us were like, yeah, 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 yeah. Uh huh. You said you said, yeah. Then I just try to work out where I can schedule it. But I know you're dead serious.
Yeah.
I know you are, but it just sounds so funny
Well, it's
because
like I can feel it building like 3 days ahead of time,
Mm.
and then it's just trying to figure out, okay, which day can I completely scrap that I know I'm not going to get anything done?
Yeah.
Considering how much you're sitting here and just nodding your head, going, "Yes, that's me, that's me, that's me." Back, maybe you should show this to whoever it is that you're going to go get diagnosed.
well, okay. By the way, Beck, I just want you to know that self-diagnosis is not valid because one day you just wake up and you just know. There's no like period of trying to figure it out before you go to the doctor. It just like poof, the doctor sends you the diagnosis in the mail, and then you know.
Actually, without self-diagnosis, I would have never been diagnosed.
All right.
Yeah,
Right.
because it's like I kind of got the idea. I started, searching for autism online, and this was way back in the 90s. And I found an Asperger's quiz that was, from some medical research thing. So I knew, it was a respectable place, and that was a valid
Right.
thing there. And I took that quiz, and it said there's an 87% chance that you have Asperger's.
Hmm.
And I showed the results to all my friends, and the universal response was, "Oh, that explains a lot."
That's what I said about my brother. He just
Yeah.
got diagnosed 3 years ago. He's 6 years older than me, and I think it was maybe 3.5 years now. And he just got diagnosed. And
Yep.
when the asshole told me, I was like, "Oh my god, my childhood makes sense now." He said, "That's what
Yeah.
I said exactly."
Well,
Yeah,
the
'Cause we
only
didn't
way
know
that
weird. We didn't understand it. We didn't know anything about it.
the only way that I got the diagnosis was taking the results from the online quiz to my therapist, who then set me up with a psychologist. And both of them kind of said that, yeah, somebody should have caught this a lot earlier.
yeah. The self-diagnosis thing isn't an official diagnosis, but it can help the process of figuring it out. I'd say.
Yeah.
No, yeah, that is part of the
Well, that's what I mean. That
part of figuring it out.
I think it's good if you
Well, to me-
self-diagnose, and then you have to bring those results,
Mm-hmm.
to a professional therapist to
Yeah.
get them to confirm it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, one of the reasons I believe that I am is because I've always thought I was ADHD, but there's several symptoms of ADHD I don't have, and ADHD meds make me nuts because they make me they chill me out, and then when I come off it, I'm like super hyper and crazy. And so it's weird. It hits me really hard, but it doesn't at the same time, it doesn't fully calm me down either. It calms me down a little bit, like that much.
Oh, here's-
Before I
It's not
got
worth it for the
diagnosed,
crash.
they kept giving me different diagnoses, and they tried me on different drugs for about 3 months, and then they decided they had the diagnosis wrong. So I went through them, calling me bipolar and ADHD, and I made a joke about
Exactly,
it,
Maya.
but I was just, having the disorder of the month club.
Okay, here's
Yeah.
something here's something that's might be interesting to bring up and talk about. Anticipating a meltdown. How does that affect you guys?
Oh, I plan for him. I plan for him. I do. No, okay. Last night I went out to the to a bar with my wife. It was her birthday. We had a birthday party there. There's a band there, so of course I brought my earplugs and stuff. And I knew that particular place I was okay with. I didn't have to wear glasses or anything. But and I know the owner, which kind of helps. But the thing is, yeah, I anticipated, and the biggest thing was going prepared by taking the earplugs and also long sleeve shirts and made sure I had a jacket and stuff like that in case I got cold. And I sound like an old man or an old lady, but those little stupid things make big differences.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
In
because
fact, I
all of
had a
them
guy.
together is a big thing.
Right. I had a guy that came up to me. He worked there, and he was asking me, and I was like, "Yeah, you get these loops, get the cheap ones too, because they're good. I've tried the titanium ones and the cheap ones, and I like the cheap ones even better actually.
I remember when you did a review of the more expensive ones.
Yeah, and the only reason I like the cheap ones is because they are cheaper. They're like 20-30 bucks instead of like 70-80 or whatever.
Uh-huh.
And so if you lose one, so what? I mean, not so what, but I mean, it's
It
30
doesn't
bucks
hurt like a
versus 80.
$200 one, right?
Yeah. And they work good and they're comfortable. So and it works. They're just as effective. I think the ones I got, they have like a little gold or silver or whatever, so they look cool, and that's the difference.
Yeah.
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 ADHD is not autism, but there are a lot of symptoms that are common between the two, and also they're often comorbid.
Mm-hmm.
Not a lot of people with autism also have ADHD, but not everyone.
Yeah, I'm a case where I don't have ADHD, but I do have autism.
Yeah.
You're one of the
I just got
mudbloods.
I just got the results from my ADHD testing, and they came back and said that no, I don't actually have ADHD.
I am autistic.
I am just almost yeah, I'm autistic. I don't have ADHD, but I'm almost completely lacking in executive functions. Which is the skill set of being able to schedule things and like outline and plan things.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So
I don't have
Beck,
that problem because I don't have anything going on in my life except for like doctor's appointments and work. I got nothing else, so I don't have to
I'm not
schedule
gonna I'm not gonna say anything about an autism diagnosis or anything, Beck, but look who your friends are.
shit.
Not gonna
I
say
know I'm pretty
nothing.
much friends with everybody in the community that's autistic. I swear to God, I think I am.
Yeah. There is also a lot of comorbid with autism and transgender or non-gender
Mhm.
identification.
Mm-hmm.
That people
Mhm.
with autism are 3 to 5 times more likely to be trans than the general population.
No, also I was wondering,
And or queer.
have you ever had the experience of expecting a meltdown actually triggering a meltdown?
The thing is, Beck, you're like an OG in this conversation. I mean, you've been teaching us stuff. Like,
I don't know about that.
that's why I'm laughing at you so much. I'm
Well-
like, well, do you think?
I had
Um,
found, I spent 25 years in the pagan community, and one of the useful things that I kept from that is some meditation exercises.
Mm.
So if I can anticipate a meltdown coming down, I can do kind of a self hypnosis and go into kind of a trance state and
Mm-hmm.
unravel the little
Right.
things.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes I can avoid it, as long as if I recognize it coming and I can get into my own safe space and, lock myself in so I know no one
Yeah.
else can get in. Because
Yeah.
if there's any chance of someone else interrupting me, I can't do it.
I get that.
Adult sensory
No,
play does that too.
John Hunter, ADHD and autism are different, but they have some symptoms that overlap. And that might be what you're thinking of. There are a handful of symptoms that can be ADHD or autism.
Okay, so
but they are not the same thing. No.
Yeah.
John, one thing
Otherwise,
people
why would they have two names?
conflate
Just saying.
the spectrum because a lot of time when we talk about the autism spectrum, we talk about the different places within autism, but then we'll say the spectrum and mean neurodivergence, which covers ADHD, autism, schizophrenia, Tourette's, things like that.
Well,
So those things get screwed up sometimes.
Mm.
even calling autism a spectrum is kind of misleading because it makes it sound like there's just a line between being more autistic
Mm-hmm.
and less autistic,
Mm-hmm.
and it's more three-dimensional than that because
Mm-hmm.
there are so many, different traits that can go with autism, and it's like it's unlikely anybody would have all of these, but you get so many different combinations of these things.
Yeah, that also kind of
Right.
gets into why we're seeing supposedly higher numbers of autism. We had these other things that we thought were separate diagnoses, and they've been rolled into. We've realized this is actually autism, and it's been rolled into that. So we naturally end up with higher numbers. It's from
Yeah,
that.
like
Mm-hmm.
that
Exactly.
Asperger's syndrome is no longer in the DSM. That was just realized to be
How long have you
just different traits of autism.
how long have
Yes.
you suspected this, Beck? I'm just wondering because I've always had the impression. I always thought you were anyway. I mean, is this
Um,
fairly recent or?
last year it's kind of been like, all right, dude, what's going on here?
Oh,
I thought
Um,
you were.
I had some a little bit of a revelation about my PTSD stuff a year and a half
Mhm.
ago, and at that time I was really like digging through myself a lot more than I
Mhm.
normally do because I'm obsessed with it because I'm OCD. Um, so I was like really like doing deep thinking, honest shit, and I was like, man. And then I've been hanging out with Kyle, and by the way, my best friend Kyle, he's autistic, and he
Mhm.
would say, that's an autistic trait, right? It is.
mhm.
Yeah, man. He said that to me somewhere between 15 and 20 times in the last year.
Yep.
I say
Like
now.
all the time. He says something every couple of weeks. There's something else. And I'm like, fuck, dude.
Well, and you're saying that like you get obsessed with this,
Yeah.
and that may actually go into not really an obsession, but that may actually
You know.
go into the area of being an autistic special interest.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
That's
Because I
what.
get like, if I fall in love, I'm obsessed with that person for a while. I have to make
Yeah.
myself like
Mm-hmm.
not care. Like, who cares what she's doing? I got to like fuck with my own head. Stuff
Hmm.
like that.
Yeah, you
Mm-hmm.
can wind up smothering someone. I've had that problem with relationships that
Mm-hmm.
didn't last very long.
Right.
Yeah. That's basically what it was with her. She just didn't have time. Is what I need more time to myself. Okay.
Yeah.
I only saw her one day a week and I stayed one night over and that was it. I don't think that was a lot. Not,
Oh no, that's not too
but
much.
maybe with me, 12 to 15 hours is a lot.
Yeah. Well, neurotypical people can find autistics to be very intense at times.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's funny you say that because I've had people tell me that you're intense and, the way you look people in the eye, look them dead in the eye and you're kind of intense and you intimidate people. And I'm like, me? Dude, I'm 5'6". Who do I intimidate? But apparently, I've intimidated a guy that was 6'4" because after we became friends, he told me the first time I met you, you intimidated me, and I was like, "What, Bill?
Yeah. I
This
couldn't
big
even
ass
look you in
Italian
the
dude." I
eye.
was like, "What?" He goes, "Yeah, dude. The way you looked me in the eye, and you were just like, what's up, man?" And because he was dating a friend of mine, and I was very protective of her, and it was
Ah,
the first time I met him, and I was like, "What's up, man?" And I like, put my hand in his hand, gave him a good squeeze, like, kind of like I'm serious. I have her back. And he knew from that moment, and I intimidated him.
yeah, I get that thing. I have a very strong protective reflex, and yeah, if anybody does anything the least bit suspicious to somebody I care about, it's
Yeah.
I'm normally, you know, rather passive about most things, but it
Yeah, I
surprises
don't care what you
people
do
when
to
I can
me,
flare up.
but
Yeah.
yeah, but if you hurt somebody I care about, we're gonna have a problem. Yeah.
Well, it especially, when I was taking care of kids, and
Yeah.
there was one poor guy who made the mistake of stepping between me and the shopping cart I had my toddler in.
Oh boy.
And yeah, I went full mother bear instantly, and I am pretty sure the guy literally pissed himself.
I have always I think I've talked about this here before, but that's one of my big problems is particularly if I start to get meltdowny, then I really start to intimidate people, and I don't know
Huh.
why. But the thing is I was a corrections officer for 15 years, so being autistic and having the monotone voice and completely blank face, they never could really tell what your emotions were, so it was much harder to manipulate you
Yeah, it's
when you're
very
talking to
disarming to
them.
people when they can't read your facial expressions and body language.
Right.
You mean this my blank stare that I'm doing right now isn't enough?
Yeah, yeah, and that's what intimidates people. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and the thing
Well,
is you that's just what they call what is it RBF?
Well, that's I
what's
wasn't fully
RBF?
aware of it until I was.
Resting
Oh,
itch
wrist
itch.
and bitch face.
Yeah,
You
that's
can swear here. That's why I put the disclaimer when we start.
yeah, that's interesting because something I actually do. This is probably a bit of masking thing. Is that when I notice people looking at my face, I'll smile.
And I've made
Oh
that a
yeah,
game.
automatic. I go into that automatic customer service thing. And I figured out the reason I look people in the eye is because when I was growing up, my parents made us look people. Yes, we got our ass spanked if we didn't look people in the eye when we were talking to them. So I learned to do that. I was forced to learn to do that at an early age. And it doesn't always make me feel comfortable, but sometimes if I start to feel just a little comfortable, I'll like be looking at them. You know what I mean? Like through them, like analyzing them
Or
while
if I
they're
want to take
talking. I don't know what the
control,
fuck they're saying anymore.
or if I want to take control, then I'll start looking them in the eyes when I want to take control of the situation. And I don't know why, but when I do, it catches them off guard because of the resting bitch face and
Yeah,
then all
the
of a sudden when I
nothing.
look at them, then they're really caught off guard. Well, then I can change. I can say something and kind of change redirect because I'm
Mhm.
intimidating them so much they're caught off guard that they just listen. But then I try to redirect in a nice way, so that it becomes a more friendly situation. Because that's what you do as a peace officer. You de-escalate.
Hey, but I tell you what though, that guy Bob came in handy because I had somebody fucking like harassing me, and he went up to the person and said, it was this dude, and said, "Look, if I see you around Beck anymore, we ain't gonna see you around anymore." This big ass Italian dude with gold chains, right? And he was like, "All right." That motherfucker, he never appeared again. Tough Navy guy, right? Yeah, it was funny. Thanks, Phil. Dude had some gnarly fucking teeth, but he was a good guy.
Yeah, I wasn't fully aware of it
Yeah,
until I was living with my late fiance. But just she was the one who really pointed out that my body language was all completely wrong. And again, it's like in retrospect, I can see that's what gave a lot of people and a lot of problems with me just making friends was that people go so much by body language. So my body language wasn't letting them understand where I'm at or predicting what I would do next.
right.
Yeah, a lot
Well,
of
yeah.
most people who aren't autistic will try and go by the eyes, the facial expressions, and most people most people who are not autistic will do that. But most people who are autistic don't even really look at that.
Yeah, well,
Mm-hmm.
and Paige, you were saying about just the deadpan face, and I before I got diagnosed, long before I got diagnosed for my Tourette's, but when I was a teenager, I realized I was having facial tics,
Hmm.
and I had to really work to suppress the facial tics, and in the process, I have wound up completely suppressing any facial expressions at all.
Yeah, well, yeah, when in 2020 when everybody was having to wear masks, Well, now you kind of get a small taste of what it's like all the time for somebody who's autistic.
I loved everybody wearing the mask because I felt it leveled the playing field for me.
Yes, it did.
The only thing I'm aware of, Mage, you made me think of it, is people's hands and what they're doing with their hands. And I think it's because I spent so long in retail catching thieves. Because that's the only thing I notice about people usually is what they're doing with their hands.
So, Beck, how much time have you spent in front of the mirror?
Oh, when I was a kid, constantly.
Uh-huh.
All the time when I was a kid. I mean, all the time when I was a kid.
That is a trait, you know. Or
Really?
it's like, oh, yeah, it's a secondary trait. That's why I asked, isn't that a peculiar question to pop off with? Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yep.
Oh.
And it's the reason for that is because we're subconsciously we know we're kind of like lacking in this, so we sit there trying to figure out what we're supposed to be doing. But I think it's a very subconscious thing.
Yeah, it's a.
Well, I did when I was really little, like
Mm-hmm.
4
Yeah,
through 6 or something.
Yeah, for those who have seen Star Trek, where Data is practicing his facial expressions and all that, it's just like that.
Yep. Well, that's when I was growing up before the Next Generation came out, a lot of people made jokes about me being a Vulcan. And that's like I felt that wasn't quite right. And when Next Generation came out, I started putting in my bios that if you understand the difference between Spock and Data, you have a better chance of understanding me.
Yeah, right.
Because Vulcans had emotions, they just through severe personal discipline kept them under control.
Yes.
Data was trying to figure out what human emotions were and how he could imitate them.
Exactly. Whole different ball of wax.
Well, I'll tell you what, Beck, obviously, and this is for everybody. If you want to get a diagnosis, go get the diagnosis, and that's, what you should do if you want it. But like I said, I always thought it before, and my opinion has not changed any, particularly
I'm
when you're
going to that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going to that evaluation on March 11th, so
That's cool. Cool.
3 weeks.
Yeah. Doing them in person too is a good thing. That's when I did mine, and I got the evaluation by a doctor that Social Security appointed.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh.
Wow.
Yeah, part of
That's
my
what I'm going to
diagnosis
do.
I got because I started having the Tourette's tics during the interview. It was a stressful situation.
'Cause you were nervous.
I started making noises.
Yeah.
I've noticed I stim now. I don't even care. I'm sure you guys have noticed that. Like, I don't even care.
Oh, I've been doing it this whole time. I do it constantly.
Yeah,
My biggest
I've
is
been doing it right now,
my
too.
toes. I do this with my toes in my shoe.
But particularly when I laugh, a lot of times I'll just contort. I'm like, I can't move. What the?
What I'll do for stimming is I'll usually touch the back of my hair with just the notches in between my fingers or on my hand, because it just creates like this kind of a cool sensation. I don't know.
Oh, okay.
Or I'll if I have a little bit of stubble, I'll just kind of play with that a little bit.
Oh, you see me doing that all the time. I'm always playing with the fur on my face.
I sure am glad I didn't pick on the special needs kids when I was little, because that would have been a real kick in the ass. Oh, damn.
Everybody I knew, 'cause the generation I grew up in, everybody I knew did that. And then I got into high school, and my mom and I got in a car wreck, and I banged up my knee, and I had to wear a brace, so I'd have trouble going up and down the stairs. And so anytime I came out, and there was this little girl named Marcy, she was like 4'10" maybe, and she had cerebral palsy, and she would use the elevator, and she had an aide that had the key to the elevator, and she was like, "Oh, come with us, you don't have to mess with the stairs." "Oh, thank you so much." So I'd ask him, "Are you guys going up?" Because it was a bitch. I had a full, like, from my ankle up to almost to my groin, leg brace on. So anyways, I really got to know Marcy pretty good, and she was hilarious and tough and had a good attitude, and she just talked funny, And then I was like, dude, leave the fucking kids alone that have issues. So then I started beating all the bullies' asses because I was like, leave everybody alone.
Yeah.
I started beating the jocks for picking on the nerds. I just started beating everybody's ass. I was in trouble all the time for fighting.
We're
So I was
going
like,
to-
no, this isn't right. And I just punch them, you know?
we're
That's
we're going into-
a
going-
justice thing, by the way,
Mm.
Beck. That's a justice
Oh, and I'm
thing.
literal and I can't lie. How's that for you, David? I'm literal. Everything is literal. I know that
Well-
people don't mean it that way, but I think of it that way. So I tell them how I thought of it, and everybody laughs because they're like, the fuck? I'm like, yeah, but
And-
it's slang. If you took it literal, this is what it would mean.
Do you know the justice thing? Do you know what I'm talking about? The justice thing?
No, I have no idea.
Autistics are known for having an extreme sense of justice to the
Yeah.
point that we will actually be willing to get hurt ourselves just for the sake of principle.
Yeah,
Oh, fuck yeah.
that is a common
I've been like that
autistic
my whole
trait.
life. Yeah.
And
Huh.
again, it's something, when I was in school, I didn't realize it, but in retrospect, these were meltdowns for me. That
Mhm.
I got harassed and bullied all the time, and I pretty much just tried to ignore it. But,
Yeah,
maybe twice a year, I would just explode in a rage and go wail on somebody. And that was enough that they never got within arm's reach of me. They would always just do it from a distance.
That's the
'cause they
I
same
knew
did that
when
every.
was
I
gonna
did
go
that
off.
like every other month, literally in school. I beat somebody's ass every other
Yeah.
month,
Well,
and it was
it's
great
like-
because I had so much built up anger because I was getting my ass beat at home and I couldn't defend myself. So I could beat
Yeah.
up these kids. I didn't understand how strong I was. If I would have known, I would have went home and beat their asses, and it would have stopped. I had no idea.
There
well,
he is.
for me, I was saying it was just the berserker rage because it's like,
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I've done that.
when I did that, it's
Mhm.
like I'm not thinking anymore. I'm in like a semi-trance state, and it's like I know I'm going to lose this fight. It's how much damage I can do before they take me down.
Well,
Yeah.
there was actually a situation where I actually went into that where the kid was picking on me. I was feeling sick from anxiety that day, and this kid decided he was gonna pick on me. Well, I finally snapped. I got up, and I remember punching him twice in the face. Though I'm told from the other kids who saw the fight, I actually grabbed him with one hand and picked him up off the ground.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't even realize I did that. But apparently, I ended up breaking his nose and loosening his front teeth.
Mm-hmm.
Just with 2 punches. At least
Yeah.
as far as I'm aware, it was 2 punches.
I had the same exact thing happen to me. I would finally just a straw would break, and it didn't matter which kid it was. And then I was a farm boy, and I think there is something, and I don't want to sound horrible, but I think there is something to be said for the adrenaline or whatever in that particular moment for autistic people, where we do get exceptional strength.
Oh, yeah.
And I would just pick somebody up and throw them about 6-8 feet away. And I mean, I was a kid, but I was used to picking up feed bags every day. It was,
We used to throw bales of hay, and I'm telling you what, I had a pretty good swing.
yeah, you know, and you
Fuck
know
yeah.
how to throw. It isn't that you're so
Oh,
strong;
yeah.
you know how. Well,
Yeah.
so
there's-
when
there-
you pick a
you
kid
use the
up,
momentum.
when you pick a kid up and throw him 6-8 feet away, like you roll a bale of hay, that impresses people, and they don't mess
I
with you
never
for a
picked up
long
anybody
time.
and threw them. I never did that. I always
I
just
didn't know
punched
how to
the
fight.
shit out of them.
I didn't know how to
Oh,
fight, so I just pick
I
them up
didn't
and throw
either.
them like.
Yeah, when I was 15, I remember when I was 15, my brothers were like, all right, if you want to fight, we're going to teach you how to fight. And then when I got to high school
Mhm.
and I knew like how to duck a punch and just duck a punch. That was it. That's all I do, motherfucker. And a couple hits in, they'd be like, ah, and it would be over. But there was a few that, like this one guy, we ended up underneath the lunch table. He was a fucking basketball player. He was like 8 inches taller than me. Really
Oh, my
skinny
word.
guy. We were underneath trying to punch each other underneath the fucking, because that's just where we ended up. I don't know. We rolled and we ended up underneath the fucking, and the tables had no legs underneath them, but the benches did. And they had those braces, and we're in there like hitting the braces, and my hands were all cut up from the bolts and everything. It was ridiculous.
my
It was just the
word.
stupidest shit. And
I
finally,
had a
like,
roommate who was all into martial arts, and said he would teach me how to fight. That only went about 3 sessions. He wouldn't spar with me because he found out that I don't know how to pull a punch.
Oh,
It's either I'm going to be totally passive and do nothing, or it's going to be full force. There's nothing in between.
Purple's beating the motherfucker's ass
well,
by accident.
going back on the subject of stimming, there, basically
Yes.
it's a repetitive movement. There could be a noise. Pretty common in people know about is the flapping with the hand, flapping hands. Or for me, I didn't even realize the touching the back of my hair. Or I didn't even realize that was a stim at the time. And just
Screw
thinking
them,
back,
flap harder.
yes. In fact, I think we should probably end with that today. But
That's Paige's sign off if you've watched his videos.
But it could be a lot of different things that the person does in a repetitive action just as a soothing thing.
Yeah. Yeah,
I do all kinds of things.
And I think part of that is, the stimming kind of distracts you from the situation. So if you're in a situation that you don't feel you have much control over, the stimming is something that you can control, and it kind of calms down, the background of the situation that you're in.
And also can help you help you focus too.
Yep.
So you have this distraction, this thing that's causing you distress. Now you've got something that's calming that you can focus on.
Right.
Well, Purple, I'm not going to disagree with
Grounding
you.
as well.
I'm not going to disagree with you, but I think it may be a neurological thing. Like when we stim, I think it somehow releases like certain endorphins or whatever when you stim.
Possible.
And I think that's what, because when I literally, my brain feels better. I can literally feel better, and just sitting here flapping right now. And I think it may be kind of like across wires. Like, how when you get your adrenaline rush when you're running or whatever, the runner's high. I think it may be cross wired or something, and cross wired with our brains as far as regulating how our moods and so forth. I just think it's cross wired.
John Hunter.
That's pulling it out of my Patuski right there too.
Yes, in fact,
John Hunter, this thing about plucking hairs, it's definitely a common stimming. Actually, it's now become a running thing in the side chat of Vice Rhino's live streams, that we are all telling him he's autistic because he's always plucking his beard hairs.
In fact, I was just looking it up. It was kind of a quick search here. One hypothesis is that stimming causes the release of beta endorphins in the body, which interesting causes is a feeling of anesthesia or pleasure. So yeah, you may actually be right on money with that neurological thing.
Could you say that again?
Stimming causes the release of beta endorphins in the body, which then causes a feeling of anesthesia or pleasure. Is what I'm found. This is kind of just a quick search on it.
I have found for me that it's like anything that helps produce dopamines, is what really helps me. And it was something, again, with my late fiance that, if I was having problems or having too many tics or anything, she would always ask, have you had any chocolate today? Because chocolate actually causes your brain to produce more dopamines.
Yes,
that's
why it's addictive.
Just so you know, this is a hypothesis that they have on what stimming is doing. So apparently this haven't been put to test to confirm.
So Antur is asking, what about specifically the motion of flapping, as opposed to stimming in general, that appeals to a lot of people with autism? I can't really give you a good answer to that, but there are so many people with autism that were diagnosed as adults that go back to their childhood to realize that it was just something they did before anyone knew what it was.
Yeah, that was me with the hair thing.
Yeah, but specifically the hand flapping, and I've I got to the point that I would sit on my hands because, again, the whole body language thing. So it just got translated to that most of the time my foot is just going like that.
Yeah,
So
I do a
it's
lot of.
like, I think it's just kind of a way to burn off nervous energy is the only thing I can come up with for that.
I think with the
Right.
hand flapping, I think for whatever reason, it helps to release the endorphins better than any other way. Or it's just a very easy way to release those endorphins. I think for whatever reason that external movement, maybe it's harder for our legs to flap like that, so we don't use our legs as much, but I think that's what it is.
I can't really say from personal experiences. I actually don't do the flapping thing, but
Yeah, I don't either. I do like my toes, and if I have a little bump on me, I'll scratch. I'll feel my whole leg and pick every little tiny bump of skin that's weird or anything off, and I do like this, and I'll count, like do this,
Mm-hmm.
you know, that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I know I'm doing it. I catch like this. This is
You're
another
doing
thing
it
I do.
right now. Yeah, I was
Yep,
just like, you're
yep.
doing it right
Another
now.
thing I do. I like pet my hair. It makes me feel
Uh-huh.
good. Yep.
And that's
I
cool.
don't.
There's nothing wrong with any of this either. By the way, with what we're talking about, there's absolutely zero wrong with this. And being autistic does not mean that you're different. It means you're a normal human being. And what I mean by that is, let's say there is 1% of us, right? It may be more. There's only 1% of redheads in the world. Do we think of them as divergents or mutants or anything
No.
like that? No, they're
Yeah,
just
I know what you're saying.
redheads.
Yeah.
They have a different color type of hair. We have people with different skin tones. I say we have different brain tones. Our brains are just slightly different, and other people's outward appearances are different. Some people's inward appearances,
Right.
you know.
Yeah, no, I can agree with that.
okay.
Absolutely.
This is
No two
interesting.
brains are the same.
Looking this is North Shore Pediatric Therapy. The many people correlate hand flapping with only autism. However, this is not the case. All children could exhibit a hand flapping behavior or when they are in a heightened or emotional state, including when anxious, excited, and or upset. Uh, Many believe that children with autism will engage in hand flapping as a self-stimulatory activity, which can be accompanied by other miming behavior or like rock making and or spinning. So even with the children who aren't autistic, they may exhibit this stim just to burn off extra energy, and that's why actually become maybe part of what is going on there too.
You know what, Mage? I've decided that if I ever can make a living at being online or whatever, I'm gonna beg you to look at scripts and stuff for me for fact checking. I'm serious.
Well,
I would, and people get paid doing that, right? You know that, right?
Hell
I
yeah.
did not know that.
oh,
Oh
Yeah,
yeah. Fact
you would be
checkers is
excellent
it's
at
a
it.
job.
I'm gonna have to
Yeah, it's a
consider that.
job.
No, it's really a job for a lot of streamers. They hire fact checkers, and that's all they do.
yep.
And you would be amazing at it.
Never
I'm just
considered
saying.
that.
That's a good idea, David, actually.
Mm.
It's a very good idea.
I
Something you could
just
do from
noticed
home.
you
Won't even
do
have to
that
leave where you're
so
at right
much,
now.
and you're so good at it, and you're so good at it that you can come up with stuff instantly. Like, it's amazing.
Yeah, Mage is so good about pulling up articles and links just while we're doing the stream.
Mm-hmm.
John Hunter, I don't even like the color red. I don't like orange, yellow, pink. I don't have anything like that around me except for like penguins and
Oh,
shit.
so you don't like
I don't like
any?
any bright colors. I don't even like redheads.
Don't like redheads.
Nope.
And the other thing about redheads is they're
The freckles
scientists.
bug me. I want to pick them all off.
Scientists believe that redheads have only been around about 20,000 years, whereas
Wow.
they believe that autistic people have been around since we were before we were actually Homo sapiens.
Mm.
Yeah, well,
Interesting.
I can see that autistic traits would work well into being the early tool makers.
And hunters.
because the
Hunters,
the
yeah.
like the hyper focus, that when you've got to, give a rock hundreds of precise chips to make a spearhead out of it.
Pattern recognitions as far as like game and also crops and stuff like that. Um, and also the flight response being very heightened, and because of our heightened awareness or whatever, maybe we were the first ones to see game or hear game or whatever. And I'm not trying to like say we're superheroes or anything, but literally, definitely the first ones to run away, right?
Yeah, that is a hypothesis that actually aided in hunting gathering.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Well, I can see, that the attention to detail and that kind of hyper alertness that
Mm-hmm.
it could have helped with picking out which are the best plants to eat, or even being able to recognize patterns from the previous years to know that,
Mm-hmm.
okay, in a week or two these plants are going to be good.
But I don't want to frame it in the fact that into saying that we're more primal. I think it's just a different set of skills. And
Yeah.
now I think now what's changing is with our senses and stuff. We don't need that as much now as autistics. Now our intellect is really where our strength is, and that the pattern recognition and all that and so forth. But I think, in a sense, I think the only way you could describe it almost is more hunter gatherer or more primal. I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't.
I haven't been watching the chat for a bit here because I was trying to find a channel that I can't remember the name of, but it's an autistic woman that I've been watching. Just as far as the hand flapping thing, because one of the things is that she's got a lot of like old home videos of when she was a child. Just showing her dancing around and doing the hand flapping.
Oh, okay.
But I can't find it now.
I didn't know how much I flapped before. I didn't think I did flap, and I talked to my ex-wife. She's like, "Yeah, you did all the time." I was like, "Oh, oh." I thought I covered up
Oh,
pretty good because I knew I flapped when I was a kid, and I learned to stop because my friends started like making fun of me, like not in a mean way. They were just giving me shit about it, and I was like, "Oh, wait, I don't wait. People don't do that. I look weird," and so I learned to stop. But evidently, I was still doing it to an extent, at least at home.
one of my autistic superpowers is if somebody says, "Oh, my living room, I want to paint it a different color and rearrange it." In my head, I'm like, "Okay, this is what you need to do."
So,
It just happens
Gothbosh,
automatically for me. Like we were talking about building a tiny home community, and we're still going to do it, but it's just matter of time and money. So I said, let me come up with a layout for the property. So I was like, well, I don't know what size the property is going to be. So I did one for a 1.5 acre and I did one for a 3 acre to scale. And
Yeah.
I did it on Excel and I did both of them in about 2 to 2.5 hours each. About 4.5 hours I had both of those done.
Yep.
The whole layout, where the house are going to go, where the electrical lines are going to go, where the solar is going to go, where the holding tank should be for the water, like all of it. Yeah, that's my superpower.
and I think what you're saying, Gothbosh, is right. But I would also say that a large, 98 or 99% of the population also the socialization became a big advantage, particularly as we went to your farming type cultures and so forth, or just got to be bigger groups of people. And I think that's where that really, the socialization and not the hunting skills, became more to an advantage because you could coordinate and so forth. Your autistic people could figure out the where the sun and the stars and where to plant, and your other people could do the social aspects of actually the organization, and that's
Yeah,
probably how we did it.
Yeah.
something that just occurred to me in this conversation that now my brain's gone way off on it is, did the autistic traits also help with us living with cats and dogs? because one of the things for people is you smile to show you're friendly. But for a cat or dog, if you show your teeth, they take that as a threat.
Though
They're like,
there is
what? Do you wanna?
there is a little bit of difference. Dogs actually can recognize facial
Yeah.
expressions, but you don't want to smile with your teeth. Like most
Right.
people, that's actually something I do. I don't when I smile. I don't smile with my teeth. I just
Yeah. Well, that's what I mean. Just now I'm wondering that did it help us with communicating with other species which have now become household pets?
Who do you think domesticated species? I'm sure. I mean, it could have been neurotypicals, but more than likely, it was autistics because of our ability to not get in their face and be friendly with them
Yeah.
easier.
it's,
More than likely, it was autistic people that
And
domesticated. I'm just going to say that.
and maybe that kind of justice thing of the runt of the litter was being picked on, so we took it in with us.
Ugg don't want to talk. Ugg just hunt.
But yeah, I think that's. I just don't want to get it confused with like people thinking that we're primal and not able to control ourselves like or not monkey, but like the caveman kind of thing stereotypes. That's where I wouldn't want to go down. The road I don't want to go down on that one because I know people could just extrapolate that because they're holistic.
Yeah, that was just a joke on the whole thing.
Yeah. Well, like I say, now that's really got my brain going on that. And thinking, can I do a video on, how autistics domesticated cats?
You probably could.
Well, cats kind of domesticated themselves, so
Yeah.
No, they domesticated humans.
yeah.
Like they're
I was
cats.
about to say, who's boss? Come on now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
Well,
do you know this is true in Egypt? There's a pyramid out there. I am not kidding, for real. And they found the mummies in that pyramid, and they did DNA tests because it's still a temple. And there's a bunch of cats around there, and those cats are literally related to cats at that same temple for 2,000 years ago.
I think I've heard about that.
well, I'm not surprised that one of the popular things or the common things about cats is that a lot of the people studying it believe they were first domesticated in Turkey. So, they probably had domestic cats in the Middle East like 8,000-9,000 years ago.
I think I've
Right.
heard I think I've heard actually happened twice.
And
Yeah.
So
it's-
it's actually independent situations where they
Yeah, where it happened in
domesticated.
Asia is completely separate from where it happened in the Middle East.
And the thing about the reason we don't have that in writings is the kings were worried about trading and so forth. The scribes weren't really writing about cats. Why would you write about a cat? It's just a cat. You know what I'm saying? Or it's just a dog.
Well,
It-
like you say, that the cats just kind of wandered in and say, "Hey, thanks for the constant supply of mice."
Yeah. And also, that's why you get the weird descriptions of breeding and stuff. Is because the scribes were in the cities and they didn't know anything about breeding. Not like the farmers. The farmers wouldn't have written that stuff about looking
Yeah.
at reeds for spots and stuff. Your farmers wouldn't have written that. So it had to have been written by scribes that were not exposed to any kind of domestic, breeding.
Yeah. Never thought of that, but that makes sense.
And so what they did is they extrapolated based upon humors. Cats are guardians of the underworld. Beck summoned me. She was.
Sorry, guys. Speaking of cats, mine are demanding treats. I'll be right with you.
Yeah, mine are laying on the windowsill about 6 inches apart, pretending that the other doesn't exist.
I hate Beck's voice. I'm just going to tell you what Beck's away. I hate Beck's voice. Beck's not going to know I said that.
Well, I know what you mean. I do the same thing with yeah. So, some of the women that I watch on the internet, it's
Uh-huh.
a combination of crush and envy.
Yeah.
David, you
We're
do
not going to admit
realize I
that.
can hear you still, right?
Oops. I didn't say jerk. I was thinking it. I'm going with name calling now. No, you have an amazing voice, really,
Yeah.
really.
Oh, thanks. We got NA in there too, along with the Kyle. He is the Kyle because he is the Kyle in the whole community. That's totally
Yeah.
fucking cool.
Oh, and
The
he's
Kyle.
been there since the beginning, pretty much. Here.
Yeah. Should have sent him a link. He's autistic too. Do you want to come in, Kyle, and discuss this? Talk about
Oh,
stuff.
I didn't know he was autistic, but yeah, you can send him the link. And
I've
Yeah,
got a
he's my best friend. I was saying and talking about.
yep.
I've
Yeah, I
got
knew
a
who you meant, but yeah.
Yeah.
I
I got
don't
a oh, go
I
ahead.
don't know who this Goth Bosch incarnate is. It's somebody new to me, but he's been
Hello.
making some good comments.
Oh yeah.
Well, I
No.
did post a link to this in the group Facebook group for people who are autistic. So maybe we're getting people coming in from there. If anybody's there, hello.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Hi.
Yeah, I'm not on Facebook, so
Sorry, we're not very aware of other people. We're autistic. Anyways.
well, I try to watch the side chat, but sometimes, like I said, for a while I was trying to look something up in another tab.
Well, I have to have something to do constantly, so I always read the side chat, so I'm very in tune with what's going on. You're down, Kyle? Are you on the Facebook page? See, I can't share it on my phone because if you give me just a link, I can only open the link. I can't copy it. But if you write something with it, like here, then I can copy it. I don't know why.
And it's funny too that I think you hear that autistics don't get sarcasm. Yet when I was throwing down about the self-diagnosis, not being valid, I was up to BS right off the bat. I've noticed that a lot of autistics, when they're joking with each other, we get sarcasm a lot of times. Or we understand each other's jokes, but then when it
Hmm.
goes to the other people, because like in this group, we all get each other's joke for the most part. I mean,
Yeah, that is a strange thing, isn't it?
Well,
Major,
it
can you
is a
send me the
weird
link
thing that
again and on
I
Twitter and like write something on it when you send it, please?
yeah I will try that, but I think it's still gonna come across as the link for you. I know what I can do. I will have to break the link, but you can put it back together. Uh,
put it in
Okay.
two pieces, two
Yeah,
packages.
copy both and then just stick them back together. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, that's
well,
autistic thinking right there.
I'm just gonna put a superfluous space, between StreamYard and the .com. So just
Okay.
take that space out.
Well, another thing
Thank
that we
you.
didn't cover actually mentions something called eloping. So behavior response and so eloping or bolting, running away is a common among autistic children, and an autistic person facing with overwhelming sensory input, anxiety or stress may simply run from the room to escape the stimulation.
Hmm.
Okay, I had
That
not heard
worked.
the term eloping, but
Or bolting.
yeah.
I literally did that
Bolting?
last night in the bar. I walked in the bar and now it didn't have my earplugs in all the way, so I literally like pretty much ran back out to
So
put in my earplugs. So in that sense, but I've got like when my son passed last October, I was miles down the road. I was kind of shocky, and I just took a hike.
You know,
And
loud noises don't bother me if I like walk into a bar or something. Sometimes the lights, if they have like disco kind of lights going, moving around, that will bother me. or if like
I
it's
challenge you.
a quick loud noise is what gets me, like gunshots or a horn alarm, a car alarm going off, a horn honking.
I'm
Or
gonna
if like
challenge you, Bet.
I hang out with Ozzy all the time, right? And listen to his stuff. Now, if I'm having a bad night, I have to turn it down really low. But if I'm having a regular day, it doesn't bother me. But he hits that fucking horn, that air horn thing, whatever it is. Oh my god, dude, it
Beck,
makes me
I'm going to challenge you. Get
go
some
fucker.
earplugs. Get you any,
Uh,
even the just the if you all you can get is a little whatever the
Oh,
foam ones, and go to Walmart.
oh, could you maybe get? Do you have a
should I
link
put
for
them in
those?
before I get to Walmart?
Yes, or
Oh, you
right
want me
as
to
you walk
wear
in the
them,
door.
not take them to Walmart?
Th-
I
Okay,
want
those
you
no
to
problem.
wear them and go to Walmart or a nightclub or whatever, and do it for just as you walk in the door. Just chill for about half an hour or whatever. Take them out and then see what happens.
th-
Because you said that it doesn't bother you. What I found is like what we were talking about earlier. There's things that may bother you that you may not know about. There's things that bother me that I don't know about. I discover them
Fair enough.
every day. So what I would like you to do for you is just see. Or do you wear sunglasses and stuff outside, and hats and all that stuff?
I usually wear a hat, and my glasses are auto
No,
tint. So
no
yes, I have
excuse.
sunglasses
Okay,
on.
and then you can get these kind that go right over. But I would ask you to try doing those things just on your own at some point in time and see if it makes a difference. Because once I discovered I could, I started doing that, and it's made a world of difference of how tense I get, like how long I can go in Walmart and things like
Oh,
that.
that's a
So
good point because I'm in and
those,
out. I mean, I like go to what I want, get it, go to the next,
and
grab it,
race.
I'm out of there.
those
Yeah,
those
not
earplugs.
race, but
Okay.
I do. Like
Yeah,
I walk fast. Yeah.
Mage
those
has been
those
trying to get in here.
those earplugs that you have, Dave. Do you have a link to those, like on the on Amazon or something?
No,
No.
no, I don't.
Oh, okay. I was just
Thank you
wondering if.
though.
Um,
But loops are great all day long.
loops, is that
Hello.
what they're called?
Howdy, Cosmic. I don't think we met.
Not yet, but it's good to meet you.
David,
Yeah.
Kyle, David.
Yeah, again,
Autistic
when
guy,
I used to hang
autistic
out
guy.
in Next Chance more regularly, I, interacted with Kyle there.
Well,
Yeah.
Kyle sometimes has bad internet, so sometimes he can't come on, or extreme weathers like being out in his garage, so he gets good signal. He's got us in a window right now, so we're doing good.
So what's your story, Kyle? Are you autistic? Do you think you're autistic? Do you have family members, friends, what have you?
I can. Let's see. Well, let me start at the very beginning. I always tell this. It's somewhat of a joke, but when I was 6 years old, I asked for an encyclopedia set for Christmas, and that should have tipped my parents off right there, but it didn't.
Yeah.
I did too.
Not only did I get the set, oh my god, I understand.
Yeah, kind of breaking up, but I got most of it. Okay, Paige.
1 second.
Atheist Carpenter was just asking if Loops is the brand name of the earplug.
Yes, Loops
Okay.
is
Okay.
the one that I like. I also like Vibes, but they're a very different type, and they're for a much lower sound level, and because they've got a hole that goes all the way through them, and they work really great for getting out ambient sound and neutralizing it.
It gives me something to work with.
Oh, Loops are wonderful. They really are. And they're pretty cheap. I think they're like 20, $30 or something like that. But definitely worth it. Anyway, go ahead, Kyle.
Oh, yeah. Another. I'm hearing myself echo.
Is your
Let's see if
Are you
my echo
watching YouTube?
cancellation's on. No, I'm not. Let's see here. Audio. All right, there we go. That's better.
Cool.
by 7 years old, I knew the scientific classification of the great white shark, which is the Carcharodon carcharias. And another thing that my parents did not pick up on, like, hey, maybe this kid's a little special. No, it wasn't until I was, I think, 12 years old that I was taken to a psychologist, and they suspected me of Asperger's, which is what it was called at the time. And turns out that's exactly what it was. I was ASD, autism spectrum disorder. And ever since then, so much in my life has made more sense about like why I do things, or the habits I form, or just the choices I make in life. It was always so hard because growing up autistic and not knowing it, it's almost like because you live in a world that is dominated by neurotypicals, you are pressured out of your neurodivergence to conform to the rest of them, and it can be tough, you know.
So, how old were you when you got or discovered it? What have you? As far as
I believe
diagnosed?
it was around 13.
Okay, so you've known for your until you were 13, right? Or you didn't know until you were 13.
Well, by the time you started high school.
Didn't know until I was 13. And well, the problem was my parents didn't want to accept that I was autistic.
When did they tell you?
It was when I was having a lot of.
It's so common. I'm sorry. It's so common that if that's a very valid question. When were you diagnosed? Okay. When did your parents tell you? That's common. Very common. Go ahead.
Yeah, I've heard that from a number of people.
That was me. Just a quick question before we keep going. This is interesting. Are these the earplugs that you were talking about, Dave?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, thank you. I'll get the link into the chat then.
I've got some little turquoise ones. They're all like plastic or whatever. I think those have like a little harder coating on the outside. They're all great.
I looked them up on Amazon and I saw them come up.
There's some that are sleeping ones or something, and they're all rubber, and I really like those. Those are my favorites. But I love them all.
All right. I'll get these. I'll get this out to.
The other thing is you can like push them in further for more noise cancellation. They don't tell you that because, but like I'll even sometimes just barely touch my ear canal because of the way that cup is shaped. It gives you a certain amount of protection. And then if it gets just loud, you can just kind of actually seat it where it should be, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I need. I need a Loops. I want to be a sponsor for Loops. I should call them up. Hey.
Sorry, people.
Give me money.
That one right off.
I already talk about your stuff. Give me money.
There's a link for everybody who may want a pair.
Yep.
I actually have a tattoo for my favorite beard oil company.
Okay, I didn't mean to interrupt your story there, Kyle. But
oh no, you're good. There's no interrupting. We're all just throwing things out.
Yeah, Kyle, I didn't realize that you were on the spectrum, or I would have gotten back to have you in here for the previous ones. We'll be doing another one next week.
Purple, did he seem really normal to you?
I'm very skilled at masking.
Well, in the side chat, people jump between, being serious and cracking jokes from one comment to the next. So it's really hard to sort it out from that environment.
Oh, yeah. That's funny, though. Because if I figure somebody's normal, then like, oh, they're autistic, huh? They're normal to me.
I don't like people using that N-word when I'm in the room.
Why is that?
I can't deal with
don't say normal around us, damn it.
Normal.
I am normal. I'm a normal autistic. That's how I use it. Otherwise, I don't like the term either, to tell you the truth.
Yeah. That's the thing. It's like, it's one of those words that everyone uses and no one is ever able to define. So
Well,
that
and
makes it a useless word if nobody has the same definition for it.
and
That
frankly, it's
link I
just
just put
ableist.
in. Oh, sorry. The link I just put in is for the all soft silicone one,
Ah,
and it's actually $5 cheaper than the other one.
okay.
Yeah,
Yes.
I just found I just found that just as you put the link in.
I'm nosy. I start scrolling, looking around.
And I like the silicone ones best. You can sleep in them too, easy.
And one of the
Yeah,
members
it
of our
says flexible.
community who is the furthest from normal, if you've ever seen their artwork, it,
Hey,
if you
nerdy.
have not seen Nerdy Rodent's artwork, it really is a trip. I have said that, I would like to, when I finish my novel, include some of his stuff as illustrations for like the interior of alien ships.
Okay, wait. We got an illustrator. We've got a proof, a fact checker. We're gonna have like an entire media empire here before too long.
Really, if we had someone to really organize this community and things like that, and I mean, if you're making a video and you need a resource, post a link to some of the groups on Twitter, and you will probably find someone who has experience with whatever it is you're looking for.
And they're autistic, so they'll be really good at it.
Well, either they're autistic or they've spent so long dealing with autistics that they know how to handle it. Oh,
Yeah, for me, it's not so much the loud noise; it's the more like the pitch.
yeah, the high
So
pitch
it's
is always
the high
with me.
pitch. I get like I said, I mentioned earlier with the smoke detector. I also get it it's lesser degrees with the like a microphone or microwave beeping.
Yeah,
I actually got a microwave that actually I can silence. So that was fantastic when I found that.
Oh my god, I need to get one of those.
But how
I,
many of you like to feel music, as in like a huge bass, like a floor bass?
yes,
I love it. I
yes,
love feeling.
I love to just feel the vibrations. Yeah.
But if it, like you said, if it gets into those high pitches, then it's no fun at all. It just hurts.
Yeah, as far as
No,
the
yeah.
microwave goes, I'm one of those people who stands in front of the microwave to cancel it with 2 seconds left
Yeah,
So am
because
I.
I don't want that time
Hold
going
two.
off.
Hold two for until it
Yes.
beeps.
yeah. The one I got is a Toshiba, and apparently it's sold exclusively at Lowe's. If you want to try and find it.
Oh,
That was the Lowe's. That was fun.
I'm actually going to put that on a banner that to hold two until it beeps, and that will turn off the microwave thing. I'm planning on
really?
putting like little like random tips for neurodivergence on
Is
my
that a common
slides.
thing across
Wait a minute,
different brands?
What's that?
that works on all microwaves?
Yeah, I think so. Most of them anyway.
Huh,
If they
I've
don't
never heard
have,
that before.
some of them have alarms that you can adjust, but if not, you hold two until it beeps, and it will turn it off.
I'll have to try that, see if that works on mine.
But yeah, I think
Yeah,
I'm like when I go to the bathroom, I'm going to do a slideshow and do little slides with like neurodivergent tips like that.
That
you
would
know?
be excellent, yeah. Little things you picked up.
Yeah, I think it'd be cool. And then people
I've
will
got-
start dropping more hints, and
Yeah.
giving them to me.
That
I've got
does
a
not
question
work
for
on
the
mine
panel.
because mine has the express cook on it. It just turns it on.
Mm.
Did you? Oh, it just turned. Oh, okay, you can't hold
Yeah.
it then, huh?
Yeah,
Oh, I did. It's still turned on.
Yeah.
Oh well, so much for that idea.
yeah.
So if you have express
I am
cook,
so
don't try
glad
it.
that the LED lights, finally got so cheap. Because I could not work with the fluorescent lights.
I know. Fucking LEDs are so heavenly.
Yeah, and the old ones tended to have that buzz that drove me crazy. And the newer ones, they fixed that, so they didn't have the buzz, but there's still something about the light they put out. I don't know
It kills
exactly
me.
what it is, but it just, it just made it harder for me to work under that light.
There is an
It's-
LED that I still can't stand. really.
Oh,
Yeah, I can't remember. I keep forgetting which one it is. It's like a white one or a natural sun one. I can't remember. But it still
Well,
hurts my eyes.
nerdy, mine was given to me by someone when I was really poor, so I did not ask if they had a manual. They were giving me a $60 microwave for free. So there's limits.
I've got a question for the panel.
Shoot.
Does anybody have like a hyperfixation that they're currently indulging?
Yes.
Always. Always.
Oh, spill it. What's up?
Always.
Well, of course I've been focusing on my whole Ghostbusters thing lately. That's been quite distracting. I suppose there was this work on this video for GMOs I've been working on for a while now is probably a hyperfixation.
Oh, okay. Nice.
Um,
nice.
And of course, there's also the X-Men thing that I get into.
right now I've got so much crap going on in my life, I don't have time to fixate on anything. But yeah, there have been times that I have been like that. That I
Skyrim.
well, when I could focus on one project. Yeah, this is also why I don't play, like any of the online multiplayer video games, because I know I would be too likely to just kind of get lost in that other world and,
Hell yeah.
Just ignore reality for too long.
Yes. It's my favorite thing to do.
Beck's over here. Yes, that's what I want. That's what I need.
Reality is overrated and highly questionable.
Well, I had that happen to me with some games I had on my Commodore 64. So before I got the internet, I knew it would be a bad idea for me to get involved with ones like that actually I was dealing with other humans behind the screen.
I wonder what the percentage of gamers, if they could ever do a poll, or whoever they is, do a poll on gamers to see what percentage are autistic, think they might be autistic, because I would not be surprised, because I think a lot of autistic people are gamers. A lot. It's just a thing for us.
I used to play RuneScape back in the day, and that basically all grinding.
Yes, it is. I still play OSRS. Me and Beck are big RuneScape players.
Well, we used to be, and then one day Kyle said you should buy Skyrim.
I unfortunately I don't think I can access my account anymore on that. But...
Oh, excuse me for a moment.
Look at Kyle trying to look like me in my picture. What the fuck?
That's all. That's good to go.
Beck's my dad.
Yep.
Actually, yeah, when I see the two of them next to each other, there is a family resemblance at least.
Father from a different fucker. Something like that.
How funny.
Camera.
Okay. Even more so now with the avatar. Like it looks like you exactly. It totally looks exactly like you. Like your avatar.
Oh,
you could interchangeable avatars there.
Glasses.
Yeah, but that's actually, he looks different on his avatar, but that's how he usually looks. He just happens to have a black sweatshirt and a baseball cap on, which he rarely wears. He usually wears his floppy beanie thingy, So today he decided to put on a hat out of nowhere and a black sweatshirt.
Pure facial structure. The nose, the eyes set, eyebrow set, jaw.
Crazy.
I'm sorry, but floppy beanie thing sounds like a euphemism for the scrotum.
No, that's the swingy beanie thingy, not the floppy.
Too much.
Yeah, well,
I love it.
You know where my mind is always at. So.
Oh yeah, I know you, Purple. I'm not worried about it. It's like hanging out with Jenny. She doesn't say some kind of perverted sexual thing every so often. We have to check her pulse.
You okay?
What's wrong with Jenny? Where'd Jenny go? Jenny, are you okay? Why? Yeah, I wasn't talking. We know. It was weird. There was no joke. Where's the sex joke? Come on.
So okay,
Or
so
the one
there's
thing I
more.
love is she'll tell you a story like she deadpans it, and then at the end, like she's just totally quiet. People start talking about it, and then I start laughing. And then she starts laughing because I'm like, Jenny, you're so full of shit. That didn't even happen. And she's like, I know.
Yeah,
And everybody
but
falls
she's
for
so
it.
good at it that she can really get everybody to buy into it.
Yep. So anything that makes you go, really? No, she's making it up. She's funny as hell, though.
Oh yeah,
Got fresh coffee. I'm good for another couple hours.
yeah. Well, I would have wrapped it up here, but since we had Kyle just join, I
Coffee.
want to give him time to, add some of his
I've
first
returned.
viewpoints.
And I've got a warmer here too for it too.
Look,
Okay,
Kyle.
but to keep going, I have to get up for a minute then and get another bottle of iced tea.
We started out
Okay,
talking about
we'll be here.
meltdowns.
Yeah, that's what we started
meltdowns,
talking about.
shutdowns, stimming, bolting, a few other things.
Hyperfixations.
Burnouts.
Oh yeah, that's where we were when you came in. That's why we were talking about the. Yeah.
Ooh, I'm out of breath. I was just running around the house trying to chase a dog.
So, like when you were a kid and stuff, what did your meltdowns look like? If you
Oh
don't
God.
mind.
No, I don't mind.
I was a screamer. I'm still a screamer. I try not to, but
I don't scream. I yell.
yeah, I'll yell. That's sometimes I even
Really
scream just to get
loud.
it out. But that's down in the basement. I'll go run down there to scream, and
That's
just get it
crazy.
out.
I would often just literally shut down, like wherever I was standing. I would just drop to the floor and cry, and nobody could get me to break out of that that state.
Did you fight or
Um,
whatever? Or somebody tried to touch you at that point in time? Or
No. It was much more of like a defensive response, where I would just like shut in.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, you're closing yourself off. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Which is a parallel to what I do in my adulthood. Like I isolate a lot. I'm very much an introvert. I like this room. I have very carefully made this room to be my safe zone, and I don't have much need to leave it.
Same.
So.
Mm-hmm.
Same. And I told Kyle this before. Like before I moved into my tiny home, I only slept like 5 hours a night. If I slept 6, it was a lot. If I slept 7, I felt exhausted because I slept way too much. So like 5.5 hours was my typical. And I moved into this thing, and now, I built it the way I wanted it. I put things where I wanted them, and now I sleep like a fucking baby. I feel so safe, and it's like smaller and comfy and cozy, and so I feel safe. It's like having an extra shell around me.
Exactly, that's how I feel.
Yeah, but big rooms, like big bedrooms and stuff, I can't sleep in them. I just can't.
You sleep
I'll
like
just,
a
I'll just
baby,
roll
you
around all
wake up
night.
every 2 hours hungry and screaming.
Kind of, without the screaming. It's usually just hungry and horny.
I wake up with sleep paralysis like at least twice a week.
Yeah, I commonly have that.
And you know what's
Hey,
funny
Kyle.
is,
Go ahead.
oh, I was just gonna say, back when I held my previous like fundamentalist religious views, I was sure that when I was undergoing sleep paralysis, that I was being attacked by demons,
Oh.
which was reinforced by my parents and grandparents because they were religious. And when I told them about this, they're like, "Oh, well, you were protected by an angel because you were attacked."
Yeah, that's the sleep paralysis. Or
Do you have
there's
narcolepsy?
another term for that. I've had that too.
Hypnagogic hallucinations, maybe? Is that what
Yeah.
you're thinking of? Yeah, that's what I
get
have.
that once or twice a year. That even when I know what it is, it's still terrifying.
Yes.
And I can see that the people who have those sort of beliefs, interpreting it as a demon sitting on their chest, because you
Absolutely.
can't even draw air in.
When I used to tell my parents that I saw monsters, I saw monsters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One thing I'm not sure if it's related to or anything, but one thing with me that's really odd is I actually have to sleep with a night light because as if I wake up in the middle of the night where it's pitch black, like I get this really weird sensation where I feel like I can't open my eyes even if they're already opened.
I've had that, but it was very temporary.
See, I'm opposite. I have to have it pitch black. If there is any light that I can see through my eyelids, I will not sleep.
Well,
That's how my
one thing,
girlfriend is.
Pitch black.
one thing you could try instead of a standard nightlight, get a red. Get one that's a red glow.
Well, what I actually my friend got me was it's actually a standing light and it has a LED colors thing, so I can actually switch it to whatever color I want.
Yeah,
Oh,
but
nice.
red helps induce your brain to go to sleep because
actually-
it associates red light with sunset.
So actually, I find blue light works best for me.
Blue light works well too. So, Kyle, I have what's called hypnagogic hallucinations. As I close my eyes to go to sleep, I begin to dream, and then after a while, I go to sleep. So I am literally dreaming before I fall asleep. So that's why it's a hallucination. The problem is when I wake up, because I was awake, those dreams are filed away as active memories.
Oh, wow.
Because I was awake when it happened, right?
Right.
But I can most times I don't remember them, or there's quote the elephant in the room, like, I'm like making out with J Lo or something, like, hey, that didn't happen.
The first time I experienced sleep paralysis is I was in my bed, I was taking a nap, and there were these two people off to the side. I just had like the door, looked like the door was open. There was these two people that came in. They were telling me to get up. The second time it happened, I was actually sleeping out. I was actually laying down on the couch, and I saw this giant mist like person, kind of like ever seen Hellboy 2, where they have the character in the suit and he has like in the smoke form. It kind of looked like that. If you're not, I don't know if you're familiar about that.
I actually, yeah, I do know.
Kind of
what you're
remember
talking about,
that.
Yeah, it kind of looked like that walking through the living room.
Wow. You see, every single time I've had a sleep paralysis hallucination, it was the night hag, like a disfigured old woman with a gaping mouth and no eyes.
So this is going to sound funny, but I don't watch cop shows or scary movies or whatever before I go to sleep, even though I was a cop 15 years, because just the stress of that, when I start to go to sleep, I'll start dreaming about it. So now I'm a cop getting chased, or I'm a bad guy getting, or there is a monster in the room because I just watched the movie. You see what I'm saying?
Yes.
And I start
Yes.
hallucinating that crap. But then I can't go to sleep because I'm hallucinating too much to actually fall asleep. And then so that's a type of narcolepsy is what it is. It's called hallucinogenic or hypnagogic hallucinations. And then there's another one is like something gogic hallucinations. It's where you wake up and you're still dreaming a little bit. And that's a lot more rare.
Okay.
I've had that happen once or twice, but
That had his hand up for something.
I was going to be a smartass and say, have you guys tried copious amounts of weed? Because I don't
Happy
remember
420.
shit. I sleep all night. I wake up and I'm like, I think I dreamt somewhere in there.
Still
Kind of
legal
remember
here. Sorry.
so-and-so being there.
Yeah.
That's it.
Goth was asking if you
well-
feel something on your chest. Are you lying on your back or your belly? Yeah. And
Yes, it only happens on my back.
It only happens to me when I'm laying on my back. Yeah.
Yeah, and both,
Yes.
both,
Really?
both of the times I experienced it, I was laying on my back.
Yeah. That's if I wake up laying on my side, I never have those kind of problems.
Yep, exactly.
Interesting. I don't like sleeping
It's
on my... I would love to sleep on my stomach, but I can't get my head in a comfortable position. I'd have to sleep on like a massage table.
Yeah, I cannot sleep.
Okay.
I've tried sleeping on my
Know what
stomach
the
before.
whole-
I cannot do it.
Okay, Nerdy, the red glow
Nerdy
is not
wrote it here.
demonic.
Oh,
The red
sorry.
glow is not demonic because the nightlight I have, it's actually one of those plastic figures, and it's a red triceratops. So it issues a red glow.
I like that.
Well, his name is Lance, and he's actually my protector. That if a monster tries to come in there, he's going to impale him.
I love that.
I
That's
need my
funny.
own impaler. I want one.
Well, the last time I
I
jumped,
just took that wrong.
the last time I jumped, had night.
No, I'm the
with a-
impaler, not the impalee.
last time I jumped into had a monster or a demon fighting me in a dream. I ended up taking its scythe away and shoving it up its ass, pointed end first.
Well, if you need an impaler, it's hard to beat an animal that's got 2-meter long horns.
How does their chat keep doing this when they're I think they're voice to texting and it's putting it in 3 times or something?
Yeah, I'm not sure why.
Bandwidth. Yeah.
Bandwidth. Yeah.
Well, YouTube
Yeah,
has been doing
anyways.
weird things lately.
Yeah, Commodore, if you want to come in, I had sent you a link on Discord. But I don't know. Commodore may still be, or Commander may still be working.
Well, hey, I'm gonna hop off here because it's way past the time I need to eat dinner. But
Yeah,
this has been fun.
Well, we should be wrapping up here because I have to go up
Yeah.
and check on the girls. So, Kyle, do you have any final words or anything you want to plug before you go?
Actually, yeah. If anyone wants to see what I do for a living, it's astrophotography. My
Cool.
Facebook page. I'm sure if there's mutual friends here, you can look me up. It's just Kyle Brewer. You can see what I post. I do a lot of deep sky photography. So some people find it interesting. If you want to see it, follow me there.
You can also look up on Facebook KTB, as in
Astro.
Kyle T. Brewer, astrophotography.
Yep. I haven't updated it for a while. I need to update with all the new stuff.
If I could
That's
log
really
into my
cool.
Facebook, I'd get a link, but I can't do it right now.
Yeah, like
All
I
right.
said, I'm not on Facebook, so I can't pull links from there.
Love
Okay,
you, brother.
take care.
Peace.
Love you back. Peace, everybody.
Have a good one, man.
Okay, Beck, I know you've got your stream coming up tomorrow.
Yeah, I used a lot of energy today, but I'm still gonna do it. Yeah, 6 p.m. Eastern over on my channel, open mic. Come over and join if you want to talk about something. Let me know. I'll bring you up and we can have a discussion about it. It's not just about what I want to talk about. I talk about whatever you guys want to talk about. So, yeah, we'll see you then. Mañana.
Okay, and Paige, you finished your 100 hours against autism speak, but see you've been putting out a lot of shorter clips now.
Actually, I'm still doing lives. I am doing lives Monday through Friday from 5 to 7. That might get expanded. And basically, all I'm doing is doing commentary and analysis of basically like current stories that are coming out about autism. And I have enough material that I can keep going for a while, I think, at 2 hours. So I'm going to just keep giving that a try. But I am going to go on tonight, more of a test run of some equipment and stuff. And I'm going to once again be inviting people to defend Autism Speaks. And I can't get anybody to do that. I've been on 5 hours trying to get somebody to come on, and
Because nobody has a way to do it, David, and you know that.
They try to do that in the comments, and I don't really respond to them because there's no reason to, because I don't want to do the warrior thing. I want to have a conversation, not fight. Yeah,
Yeah,
so,
well, nobody can really explain what they spend all the money on.
Mm-mm. So anyway, that's what I'm doing. Do I still look red?
Yeah.
Yes, you look pinkish.
Okay, so I'm gonna have to figure out. Maybe it's in my camera. I can adjust my camera. Maybe I've got a Sony camcorder. Maybe I can adjust the color of that.
It might just
That way.
be the
Well,
kind of light you're
what kind of
using
lighting
and the
do you have on your
camera's
face?
interpreting it as pink.
Well, you know what? I just got the white light LEDs and stuff, so they aren't those yellow fluorescent coily ones anymore. But they're still not a white light, that blue light. They're not that kind.
Yeah.
So they're still a little yellow.
I hate the ones with the blue tint.
I kind of like them.
That's pretty.
Depends
They're
on my mood.
supposed to render better colors, but for me, that doesn't seem to work.
But I think I might be able to adjust it in the camera, maybe,
I don't know. Yeah.
because I look a little red. And I got white lights here that I put on, you know, to my side. See the difference? Like when I take them down, it's really bad.
Yeah, you're
Okay,
darker. Yeah.
Mage. You've got a couple of projects in the works. What do you think's going to be ready to come out next?
Oh, I'm not really sure what I'm gonna be coming out with next. I've been just focusing on and trying to put this script together on the GMOs, and I'm still growing the tomatoes, so they're not ready yet. I want to go all the way through the whole thing of growing them, right up to the taste test. So
Nice.
Yeah, it
Hell
sounds like
yeah,
that's become
that's
quite a
cool.
project for you.
yeah,
Hey,
so-
Mage. Hey, Mage. I was just thinking. You know how a lot of people get to be fact checkers or whatever? They end up calling the YouTubers or whatever that they like, and just say, "Hey, if you need, I could do this," and that's how a lot of people get started. And I've
Yeah.
heard of people getting rich that way. They start with a little thing, and then the word gets around. That kind of thing. Just saying.
Yep.
Well, that's
well,
pretty much how Cirrus has, found his entire staff that he works with. It was
Well-
all people that were following his live streams and commenting.
Well, if it's a job I should actually do and finally get me off of disability, I'd love to do that.
And you could do it while you're on disability too, for practice. And
could
if it makes
still
too
work
much
up to,
money,
like what?
yeah.
What you could do up to like what 20 hours a week or something
I
like
can.
that.
They only allow me to make up to $2,000 a year.
oh
I
geez,
mean, even
Oh,
that,
God.
even that could cause me to get a reduction in what I get.
Well,
Wow.
okay,
Fuck.
with
I
my
just chill.
disability, that I can make like up to $200 in a month that they don't take anything off, and then after that they'll take $2 for every $3 I make.
Yeah, I don't know what the limit is for how much I can actually make without them reducing. But
Yeah, well, mine's considered a partial disability. They
you
figure
could probably call them and ask them, and
Yeah.
they'll probably tell you what you can do.
and then there's also
Oh,
the
yeah.
issue.
Yeah.
They do have the thing where you can try and do work for like 3 months or something, but
Yep.
That's piddly. I mean, that's not going to work for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, if you look into it, there's, I think you'd be amazing at it.
I might have to look
Honestly,
into that.
Mage, I wish they would give me disability. I'm so sick of being around people. I just want to
Yeah.
hide in my fucking house, talk to whoever I want to talk to online, and just fucking live my life. Like, whatever it is not. I mean, it's nothing, but I'm just so... I hate having to go to work. I don't mind going to work. Like, I like working. I don't want to be around everybody.
Yeah.
That's all it is. I like my job that I'm doing now. I like the people I work with. But
Yeah.
That's
I have to
one
talk
of
to
the
people
things
on the
I liked
phone all
about
day, and it
doing night
wears me
shift.
out. Huh?
That's one of the things I liked about doing night shift is often for 6 of the 8 hours I was the only person in the building.
Yeah, I tried to get a job at the local domestic violence shelter that's run through the state, or not state. I don't know. Anyways, it has like funding through donations and shit like that. And I wanted to go work there overnight because you just kind of monitor the building, and if somebody needs something, you help them, and just sit there all night. And I'm like, I'll do that for fucking $18 an hour. Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
But they
here's-
drug their feet, and I found this other job, and I gave them the week I told them I would give them, and they didn't get. Though we're still pulling in apps, and I'm like, forget it. I have to work. I'm
Well,
running
here's one little tip for, or if you might want to debunk a claim, you put the claim into the search with quotes around it, and then just put debunked or refuted it after it, and just search that and see what comes up.
Okay. Yeah.
Really?
Somehow I never thought of doing that, but yeah.
Doesn't
See?
always work. It doesn't always work,
See?
but
Yep.
Is that in Google?
yeah, just put it in
Yeah.
Google. Just put it in with quotes, so you get the whole. So it'll look up that quote specifically, and then you just add in debunked or refuted or whatever, right after it.
I'll be darned. That would
And
be very
sometimes-
helpful for the
some-
stuff I'm doing now.
Yeah, sometimes you can get it. Sometimes it doesn't work, but it's a good first start to try.
Okay. Well, with
Thank
that,
you.
we will bid you all a good evening, good morning, good night, wherever you happen to be in the world. So we will be back at the same time next week with another autism stream. I think we might get into the stimming again because we really didn't have a lot of time to cover that. And Mage and I
Yeah.
will be here with Jenny Morgan Wednesday at 2:00. For just kind of a general hangout stream. So.
Yep. And I will see all of you guys 6 p.m. Eastern tomorrow over at my stream.
Okay. Bye all.
And don't forget, screw them, flap harder.
Yeah.